Yeah, I think that season 9 might low key be the reset button for a lot of these characters. Basically, it could be that they're just taking out a lot of the storylines that the new writers put into place and then remodeling it to Tyler's liking. Now, I still have no idea if Tyler really did go to the writers' room, but given that Jamie Giddens was done after season 8, it stands to reason Tyler came in to try to get things back on track. So this isn't a situation where I have actors access information about season 9 to be like, hey, Tyler wrote a few episodes, or one of the writers wrote this one. I have no idea. So this is speculation. But I mentioned this after the season finale. I said if Gary ends up getting shot or injured and he's in the hospital and he comes to, they'll probably restore all of his memories. They'll probably make it where that whole memory lapse thing was completely null and void and he's right back to being his old evil self. And I think it goes about saying, because look, that 1 month time skip in episode 20 that came completely out of nowhere, it seems that during that time, Andi had zero contact with Gary. And these two never interacted again until Jasmine abducted Andi and brought her to Gary's office. And then she ripped the bag from over her head, the blindfold or whatever. And that was that. And given the fact that these two almost died together and were traumatized seeing Jasmine getting shot right in front of them, and then the fight over the gun and whatnot, it would not surprise me in the least. It would not surprise me in the least if Andi and Gary entertained the idea of getting back together in season 9. Because it's just one of those things where they just went through a traumatic moment and they probably are finding comfort in each other, because Andi's going to be like, oh, Gary, you were so concerned about me and you wanted to make sure I was okay and this, that, and the third. And it's going to make Andi go right back to how she was, because it went from, I'm going to go get my man, Robin, to, I think me and Gary are going to try to make it work out again. And even worse is that Robin wasn't shown getting on the flight because of the power outages. And remember, he was going to get on the last flight of the day just to see if Andi would come over to his place to, ask him to stay. So it stands to reason that Robin is still going to be in town because he didn't hear back from Andi. And then maybe he'll eventually find her or something and then say, well, hey, I didn't hear from you or whatever. And then that's when she's like, well, something happened. And me and Gary, it's like, oh, here we go again. So I would hate for Robin to end up staying, trying to convince Andi to change her mind. Just let him go back to the UK or London or whatever, because she's not worth staying around for. And I don't want to see these two together at all, Andi and Gary, but I'd much rather less see Robin or somebody else being in a love triangle where it's clear that Andi's not going to choose the good dude. She's going to go for Gary, and then Gary's going to be up to his old schemes. Sing a different tune. I really feel like at the end of the day, we need to see it where Andi's going to go back to her old ways, because I cannot get over season 8, what was it, episode 3 or 4, when the girls are in the penthouse talking about the situation involving the stabbing of who could have done it. And then Andi's like, am I an awful person? Because for a few seconds I thought I was happy there was a world without Gary, but then I began to think, I don't know how I could live in a world without Gary in it. And then Sabrina and Karen were co-signed this bullshit. And I'm like, yep, there we go. Andi still loves him, because when she went to the hospital to see him, how did it come to this? You weren't always like this. She was spewing the same crap she was in the earlier seasons. Every time Gary gave her a legitimate reason to go, yeah, I'm not messing with you anymore. You're toxic. You're crazy. But he wasn't always a monster. Yeah, oh, crap. So this entire scenario where Hudson and Jasmine were conspiring to take these two out, they ended up bringing them back together. I have no doubt in my mind that Andi and Gary will be within each other's orbit yet again once season 9 starts. Mark my words. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. like and subscribe. And I hope Danny or Fatima or somebody will slap the hell out of her. I can see her now. Fatima try to do something. Well, Fatima, you said you weren't going to judge me after you and Zach, went through what you went through. Yeah, but that's completely different. And for once, I agree with Fatima. So I don't know. And then Karen, what can you tell me with you and your 2 baby daddies? And Danny, hot girl summer. Dang it. Okay, fine. Then and then Sabrina. Well, Sabrina won't say anything. So I just feel like Andy and Gary is going to be right back to square one once we get to season 9. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.